News 12 on your side. Breaking news.
We are tracking some breaking news this evening. A school bus filled with some of the youngest students in Burke County lands on its side.
We're told it flipped and a few of those students were taken to the hospital to get checked out, but should be okay. We are just minutes away from this bus being flipped over. You can see a tow truck is hooked up to it. They've been working for the last hour and a half trying to get this thing back on its side. This is right along Haddon Pond Road. That's off Highway 24 in Waynesboro.
It had just come over a railroad track when this happened. Deputies say the driver had a medical issue and passed out crossing those tracks. Again, the school district says all 18 students on board, they're doing okay. And we're talking about some of the younger students from Waynesboro Primary and Blakeney Elementary School.
Definitely some scary moments for those kids, though. But 3 students, along with the driver and the adult bus monitor on board, all taken to the hospital to be checked out. But the good news here, they say the safety features on this bus appear to have worked like they were supposed to. The windows on the downside of the bus did not shatter, which of course could have been awful for those kids if all that glass had have shattered. So luckily those features did work.
And if we'll hang on to the shot for a second, we'll see this bus flipping back onto its wheels. Not too far from a railroad track, the driver passing out there, driving along an embankment before it finally flipped over.
And we're told the driver had some shortness of breath. There it goes, back on 4 wheels. Had some shortness of breath and then lost consciousness. But thankfully everybody seems to be okay, just some bumps and bruises.
Another top story this evening, a lot of back and forth and who is to blame for this deadly fire at the Marshall Square retirement community. We're on your side investigating what went wrong.
Well, so many people would have done things differently had this tragedy not occurred.
An attorney says everybody failed at their job when it came to the Marshall Square fire, even the county fire marshal.
Christy Etheridge takes you through the attorney's interview with Fire Marshal Brian Clark as he tries to explain why he decided the retirement community did not need a fire safety policy at all.
Well, here's the confusing thing. At first, when he's inspecting the building, he decides they don't. But a couple months later, after getting an email from a concerned son, he decides actually they do. Then the fire happens, and after that he changes his mind again, deciding there was no need for a fire safety policy. But when attorneys press him in his deposition, he changes his mind yet again.
So he's changed his mind at least 3 times.
Attorneys finally pin Fire Marshal Brian Clark down as uncertain at best about what the fire code says was required at Marshall Square.
Is it concerning that a fire marshal doesn't know the fire code?
Very much so.
In December 2014, 6 months before the fire, Clark signed off on the certificate of occupancy, meaning the building passed all the inspections and had a green light to open. But barely a month later, after an email from a concerned citizen, Clark decides Marshall Square's fire policy is not up to code, and in January, emails managers 5 violations that need to be fixed.
He would not have allowed them to open had that been his view in December when he issued this certificate of occupancy.
But they were already open, so those changes, they needed to happen now. 5 months later, it's June, and the documents we obtained show those changes still aren't made. That's when the building goes up in flames. Fast forward to March 29th of this year, Brian Clark sits down for his deposition. Marshall Square attorney John Price asks, the operators of the facility were not required to have a fire safety plan. Is that right? Clark answers, correct. And the operators of the building were not required to have an evacuation plan. Is that correct? Again, Clark says, correct. All of a sudden, a change of mind, but only after a fire that killed an elderly woman.
Do you find anything odd about how and when he changed his mind?
Very odd. He had no reasonable explanation for what prompted him to change his mind.
Clark says it's because he was looking at the wrong part of the code. Let's get technical a minute. Marshall Square is an R2 facility. Clark says he was looking at the section for R2 college and university buildings when he decided they were against the code. That obviously doesn't apply at a retirement community. But that change of heart stayed only in his own mind.
It's important, though, to remember that Marshall Square was never told that he had changed his mind.
Until it came out in the deposition 9 months later.
We were very surprised.
The surprise wouldn't end there. When plaintiff's attorneys pressed him, Clark reluctantly agrees the code does apply, and it says apartments like Marshall Square are required to prepare a fire safety and evacuation plan.
Everybody involved failed to do the job they should have done, which is designed to prevent this tragedy that occurred.
And yet all of that is in the past, but what can we learn going forward?
Hopefully a lot. Revel hopes this entire case is a learning process because right now there are lots of different fire codes and they all apply, different parts of them apply at different times. So it can be very murky and sometimes even contradictory. So I asked, is this a problem with the code itself or is this a problem with the people interpreting the code? And Revel thinks both.
Wow, a lot revealed here. Now, they've talked about rebuilding. What happens if they rebuild?
Great question. And so far, everything that we have been told is that they do plan to rebuild. But right now, at this point, they will still be classified as the same type of apartment complex. So they will be held to the same minimum standards as last time.
Interesting.
Doesn't give you a very easy feeling.
Christy,
That's why
thank you.
you've got investigators like us.
We appreciate you looking into it.
Well, we've got some ominous looking clouds at our live eye camera looking down Washington Road right now. We're talking about some gusty winds, cool temperatures, and even some passing showers, a couple of rumbles of thunder, small hail as well. It's a busy weather day. We got a bird flying through our screen there as well to make matters even more interesting. Look at these winds from 15 to 25 miles an hour. A sustained wind at Augusta Regional Airport right now of 29. Gusting over 30. Take a quick look at the rain showers moving from northwest to southeast. Some heavier activity between Louisville and Thompson right now, giving you some heavy rain, some gusty winds. So yeah, it's turned out to be kind of a showery afternoon here heading into the evening. We'll talk about how long the rain sticks around and some cool weather ahead coming up.
And speaking of winds, how about some winds of change here in Augusta? And Augusta is not the only ones feeling the effects of a growing cyber hub in the city as Sibley Mill gets ready to transform into a cyber campus.
Right, the growth of cyber technology spreads to all the surrounding counties from Columbia to Richmond, Aiken, and beyond. Preston Willett on your side with how leaders want to build a future for cyber in Aiken County.
It's now a part of the growing Augusta Cyber Hub.
And we hope that this building and the site becomes a fundamental component to the cyber initiative in Augusta.
Augusta CyberWorks is the latest cyber project in Augusta. While cyber companies like Unisys flock there, on the other side of the river, Aiken County is trying to not let the opportunity pass them by.
I'm always thinking, wow, why couldn't we have gotten that? And that just makes us work harder.
Will Williams with the Economic Development Partnership says counties are working together and there are more opportunities.
We've also been working collaboratively with the groups at Fort Gordon that are working on this because based on some of the infrastructure needs out at one of the gates, we know the North Augusta and some areas in Aiken County are just as close.
Having existing structures is something Williams says made Sibley Mill so attractive. It's something Aiken can take advantage of.
We have a couple of existing buildings that we're marketing because speed to market is what most companies are after.
Bringing in more businesses means more people too. A recent report says the Aiken population is aging faster than the rest of the country. Williams says while businesses help, the county needs to prepare for younger families.
Columbia County's been very forward-thinking in terms of improving their school resources and have built new schools over time. Aiken County has just is starting to do some of that work because we know we lost some of those people.
Williams says manufacturers have invested $80 million in the county just so far this year. Also, he says a recent study says there will be 30,000 new jobs coming in the next 5 years.
So much potential, Preston. Thank you. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office working to get guns out of the wrong hands. The initiative to reduce gun violence and make sure illegal or stolen guns are off the streets. The goal is to collect 500 guns in the next 100 days. It started today, goes until August the 12th. You can call the tip line at the number here on the screen any time of day. A tip leading to an arrest, by the way, is worth $200.
A local paper mill is closing one of 2 paper machines at their facility. Resolute Forest Products on Doug Bernard Parkway is going to cut 95 jobs. The company produces newsprint both locally and overseas and has about 250 employees total. That closure goes into effect May 16th.
Augusta Mayor Hardy Davis will speak at Payne College's graduation Saturday. Payne's graduation May 7th, 3 in the afternoon at the chapel. Payne College is going through a number of financial problems we've been talking about for a good long time now, but their interim president, Dr. Samuel Sullivan, was just named president for another year. The college will find out next month if they will lose their accreditation and potentially have to close down.
A developing story at 6 o'clock. Former public safety officer Justin Craven is no longer employed with the city of North Augusta. Craven moved to a job as a building inspector after pleading guilty to misconduct in office in the deadly shooting of Ernest Satterwhite back in February 2014. He's been sentenced to 3 years probation.
A new design for the York Street Bridge in Aiken has just been approved. The Design and Review Board approving a steel and concrete support with a wooden surface. The only condition is a way to turn around before getting to the bridge. Many of the streets there are one way. This is the last city approval SCDOT needs before they start construction.
If you bought a Powerball ticket in Ridge Spring, you better start checking your pockets because you could be the winner of a $50,000 prize. The winning numbers were 30, 47, 57, 66, 69, and that Powerball was 3.
A day of prayer in full swing as people across the region take some time to reflect. This is video from West Acres Baptist Church in Evans earlier today. There's a prayer vigil going on right now in Augusta. You can go to Wildwood Christian Church in Hephzibah if you want to take part in that on this National Day of Prayer. There was a special visitor for the National Day of Prayer in North Augusta today. We're going to look at that ahead in sports with Kevin Feigl.
And major changes coming to the parks you bring your kids to. Ahead, we break down what's in store and how Augusta leaders plan to make it happen.
Some parks in Augusta are run down, falling behind, and not being used as often as the city would like.
Augusta leaders considered closing some of them last year, but a new master plan is recommending the city put money into them. Cody O'Hara on your side with the plan for Richmond County's failing parks.
For more than 50 years, Wanda Thaxton has taken walks around Dottie Park, just like today with her new Basset puppy. For years, she has envisioned what the park could look like, and she hopes the city will see her vision too.
A lot of people have great parks, and our park could be better.
Dottie Park is just one of a handful in Augusta, ranked poorly by a new master plan. But there's good news. The plan calls for the city to make improvements.
It'll enhance the neighborhood and get more people involved, and it'll give us a better outlook for the neighborhood and the community.
Right now, Wanda says the area is more known for its vacant homes and violence than its community center and park. But she thinks it can change. She's already trying to do her part.
We have the kids come after school. We have an after-school program. We have a food drive the second Saturday every month.
John Wright lives right across the street from the park.
Well, the baseball field ain't been used in a while, and people still play basketball out here sometimes. Lights out here don't work.
Grass growing where it shouldn't too, and the tennis courts don't even have a net.
I want to see something done Like they take care of West Augusta, take care of South Augusta. We pay taxes, we vote. And when I see something done around here, then I know they're doing something.
Augusta commissioners could choose to close parks and sell them, but the creators of the master plan say they aren't recommending closing any.
But our kids won't have nowhere to play. It's already trouble, and they will probably get in more.
In Augusta, Cody O'Hara on your side.
Out of 60 parks, 9 in the county are ranked poor, 25 are ranked in fair condition.
From the crime team, do you recognize this man? Deputies are looking for him because he's accused of breaking into the putt-putt golf and games on Martinez Boulevard. And they got a couple of pretty good pictures of him in action. If you do recognize him, call the Columbia County Sheriff's Office.
Who breaks into a putt-putt?
Somebody who needs to play golf or maybe needs some cash.
It's a putt-putt. Come on.
It is a putt-putt.
Well, a cool and windy day will tell you if the warm temperatures will return this weekend.
You got that right, and we're also going to tell you about the wind going on right now. Some gusts out there that are over 30 miles an hour. A wind advisory in effect for our western viewers into this evening.
On your side with your hour-by-hour forecast.
Yes, we have those threatening clouds out there. We've had some passing showers this afternoon and also some small hail and gusty winds in parts of our coverage area, including Edgefield County, where half-inch hail was reported a couple of hours ago. Yes, we do have a mixture of sun and clouds looking to the west down Washington Road. Got some showers in the area. 57 is the cool temperature, and the dew point temps are in the 40s. We have a very strong wind, 29 miles an hour, and it's gusting even higher in some spots. Take a look at this, a gust of 39 at the last observation time at Augusta Regional Airport. So yeah, gusts up to 40. The wind advisory is in effect for our western viewers, but we're getting some pretty strong winds here in Augusta too. Breezy conditions will be with us for the next couple of hours at least. How about these cool temperatures? We've got 50s and 60s out there. Sylvania's still trying to hang on to 70, but the clouds and showers are coming your way as well down south into Screven County. Look at all these showers moving from northwest to southeast across the region, and they don't look like much, but some of them have been packing a punch. It's a little bit of heavy rain out here near Wren's, moving southeast toward Louisville and areas around there with possibly some small hail there. Also some pea-sized hail. These storms here northeast of Aiken and also near New Ellington have a history of producing some small hail and 35 to 45 mile-an-hour wind gusts. So if you live in the path of any of these showers moving to the southeast, being inside would be a good thing to do for the next couple of hours or so. The culprit for all this crazy weather is an upper-level low-pressure system. It produces cold air aloft, and then what happens there is you get an unstable atmosphere, so these showers pop up, and sometimes they have enough oomph with them that they give you some gusty winds and even some small hail. Cool air coming out of the northwest side of that storm system too. As we look toward tomorrow morning, hour by hour shows that low pressure system still sitting up there off the Carolina coast. It'll still continue to be sending us cool northwesterly breezes really all day long tomorrow. We start the day tomorrow in the 40s. It's going to be chilly out there. Then by tomorrow afternoon, about this time, 6 p.m., notice that low sits there and continues to spin back that cold air. It's kind of a precipitation factory, if you will. It gives us these pop-up showers that really zoom through the region. So tomorrow afternoon, we could see a repeat performance of what's going on right now with high temps in the lower 70s. As we head towards Saturday, that low pressure system moves out to sea and we dry things out with nothing but sunshine to start your weekend. So a closer look at what's happening for us tomorrow. A cool start to your day on Friday with a mixture of sun and clouds. Wake up temps in the 40s. By noontime, we're going to be only in the 60s with breezy conditions. Yes, another windy day for us. And then tomorrow late afternoon, we start to see a couple of showers roll through, highs in the 70s. Could see a pop-up thunderstorm with some gusty winds tomorrow afternoon as well, just like today. So the next few days, we're looking for high temperatures to be gradually getting warmer, but still kind of cool tomorrow. 80s on Saturday, upper 80s on Sunday, and that's when the humidity starts to return just in time for Mother's Day there. And next week looks to be a warm and humid one.
Mother Nature not doing Mom any favors for her hair that day.
Yeah, that's true. Don't forget Mom, though.
Hair is not going to be on fleek on Mother's Day. Well, sports is next, and it has been a very busy afternoon. Gamecock great Marcus Lattimore in North Augusta. The AU golf team ready for nationals and high school baseball playoff action.
That's enough, but we've got more. This afternoon, Westside facing a must-win if they want to stay alive in the playoffs. In the other dugout, the boys from Dawson County. Kevin's next with sports.
That might have to just do that. We're all sitting there like there's no rain.
On your sideline, sports.
When you get to a Game 3 in a playoff series, it becomes more about offense and pitching. Not a lot of teams go 3 deep on the mound. For Westside, it was win or go home time against Dawson County. Head to Westside this afternoon. Pick it up in the first. It's the Tigers getting on the board. Austin Young's going to single one to right. Drake Samples will race home with the first run of the ball game. Didn't last long, though. Top 2, it's the Patriots, A.J. Gonzalez, and we have liftoff. The wind helped, and it just gets over the right field fence for a solo homer and a 1-1 game. Not done. Tim Gray for the Patriots goes the other way. That's going to play a pair. Right now, at last check, during a second rain delay, Westside leading 4-2. Other baseball, Evans has their season come to an end. They fall to Dalton. And in Harlem, Holy Innocents jumped out to an early lead on the Bulldogs. Other soccer and softball playoff action tonight as well. Special guest in North Augusta today, the annual Mayor's National Day of Prayer Luncheon. Former Gamecock great Marcus Lattimore on hand to talk to the hundreds who were on hand. Due to an NCAA rule, Lattimore was not able to join Will Muschamp's staff in Columbia, but will still be around the program as much as possible. Lattimore likes the new Gamecock boss, seeing that he's a straight shooter. Nowadays, the Gamecock great does a lot of motivation speaking and has his own foundation to help kids. Though through it all, the injuries, he has no regrets on not getting a true shot at the NFL.
I used to ask why me, but this platform, why I'm here today, this is why it happened. I'm able to impact people in a way that I couldn't, and that's worth more than $500 million.
Lattimore's foundation focuses on kids, as he's as popular today. Was scoring touchdowns a few years ago with that Garnet and Black. Actually graduates from South Carolina tomorrow. NCAA bids going out today on the men's golf. Augusta's going to head to Oklahoma on a course they have a lot of history on, Karsten Creek Golf Club. The Jags, the second national title 5 years ago. Trophy sits in the golf house over at AU. No one on this team has played there. They know it's a tough trek, but this is a battle-tested team. It's only gotten better as the years progressed.
I'm not worried at all. I'm sure that if everyone prepares the way they know how to prepare, we'll do well in Oklahoma.
I guess experience-wise, we have an older team, and hopefully that will help us out a little bit too. And everybody's played big events and stuff in the summers, and so this is just another one of those big events.
Clemson, Oklahoma, Duke are just some of the other heavy hitters in the region. The Jags are the 5th seed. First round is May 16th.
How about Marcus Lattimore putting everything in perspective there?
He really does, Sometimes it takes an injury and then you realize your true calling, so to speak.
He has figured it out.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to do it for News 12 and NBC 26 at 6 o'clock. Great to have you with us tonight.
And we're back for more news at 11. We'll see you then.